ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 65th episode of the Classic Wrestling Series. Guys, as I said last week, tonight we will be looking at Survivor Series 2000. So, what we are also going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to have a look and see just who from the Survivor Series 1990 is on the card 10 years later. Oh my, I hope the Undertaker is on the card, because it'll be a bit weird if we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Undertaker and he's not on the card. Let's find out. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first matchup is TNA with Trish Stratus. TNA is Test and Albert taking on Steve Blackman, Crash Holly, and Molly Holly in a 6-person intergender matchup. Let us watch this match, shall we? So, we just had TNA and Trish Stratus taking on Crash, Molly Holly, and Steve Blackman. Very entertaining opening six-person tag. Molly gets the win with a roll-up, which is okay. Trish wasn't as good as she would be later on in her career, but for, basically getting the pin, eating the pin and stuff like that, that's pretty good, at the end of the day. It was okay in that sense. Test and Albert were good, and Steve Blackman and Crash Holly were very decent. So it was an okay match. We had Edge, Christian, and the WWF champion Kurt Angle talking backstage, basically saying that Angle's going to win against the Undertaker. He is here, and they're going to win their match. And then we had Lowdown with Tiger Ali Sin, basically not being allowed in the building. Kind of funny, to be honest with you guys. So next up is a tag team matchup between Road Dogg, K-Quick, and Chyna taking on Road Dogg, K-Quick, Chyna, and Billy Gunn taking on all 4 members of the Radicals. So let us watch this match. It's a Survivor Series matchup. So we just had the Radicals versus Billy Gunn, K-Quick, Road Dogg, and Chyna. And I have to admit, out of all the matchups for Survivor Series style matches I've seen, I have to admit this one was one of the best, like one of the better ones. Chyna gets... Apologies about that, boss needed help. So, anyway, as I was saying, so we just had the Survivor Series matchup, and I have to admit, it was one of the better ones. So, Chyna is eliminated first after Eddie hits her in the back with the Intercontinental title, gets pinned by Saturn. Then Eddie gets pinned by Billy Gunn. K-Quick then gets German suplex pinned by Benoit. Dean Malenko gets pinned by Billy Gunn after the Famouser, and then Billy Gunn gets pinned by Benoit after Saturn holds his legs. This was a really good matchup. Benoit and Saturn are the sole survivors, and it was a really good match. Again, out of all the Survivor Series matches I've seen, this one was one of the better ones. So we've now got a promo with Chris Jericho, and he will be taking on Kane. So let's watch that. So we just had Jericho versus Kane, and a very, very interesting matchup, guys. Basically, this is a feud over Jericho being beautiful and Kane being the disfigured monster, which is a really good way to build this feud up. It's basically just a David versus Goliath match as well. Nasty looking botch from Jericho where he tried to do the springboard move but nearly necked himself. I hope he will be okay. But very, very dangerous. But yeah, great match. Dealing with, again, the size difference and everything. But Kane gets the win with the chokeslam, 1, 2, 3. Very entertaining matchup. So now we've got a Radicals promo talking about Triple H. Then we have got William Regal versus Hardcore Holly for the European Championship. This one should be good. So we just had William Regal versus Hardcore Holly for the European Championship, and this one was a really good match. Very technical. Hardcore Holly had come back from a shoulder injury, so obviously Regal wants the shoulder. Very good. But then Hardcore Holly gets disqualified by hitting Regal in the head with the belt. That sucks. Had a promo from Kurt and Trish, basically saying, do you want my help? And he just turns around and goes, well, you can tell TNA, but fans, but no fans, and walks off. It's like, you're an idiot, Kurt. Now we have got Rikishi versus The Rock. oh boy, this one's going to be good. So we just had The Rock versus Rikishi, and I'll explain the story going into this match in the main event because it ties into the main event. But this one was really good. Rock comes out, house on fire. He basically is injured at the hands of Rikishi. Comes out, tries to kick ass. He sells the ribs perfectly. He really sells the entire thing. Rock wins with the rock bottom after about a good 15-20 seconds of trying to get to the pin. Bit weird, but if they wanted to build up Rikishi as this monster, then I think they should have let Rikishi win over Rock. He would go on to be pinned by the Hurricane in 2002. So I think letting Rikishi get the pin on this one should have been a bit better. But in all, it was a really good matchup. We then have Jericho attacking. Apologies, that's coming up later. We've got Mick Foley showing an update with Triple H on Austin's appearance because it's Austin versus Hunter. And then we will have Ivory versus Lita for the Women's Championship. Let's watch that. So we just had Lita versus Ivory, and Lita gets busted open above her right eye, which looks nasty. But Ivory gets the win after Lita hits the moonsault and brings the title belt into her chest, Ivory, and gets 1, 2, 3. Then we had Jonathan Coachman talking about The Rock and his injuries, saying that it'll change, if it changes, he'll let us know. I think he does, if I recall. Then we had Jericho beating up on Kane, and now we've got Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker for the WWF Championship. This is badass. American Badass Taker. So, this is going to be good. So, let's watch the match. So, we just had Kurt versus Undertaker for the WWF Championship, which is weird to see the title not in the main event, but I don't know if they didn't trust Angle or whatever. This was an okay match. Not Undertaker and Kane, Kurt Angle's best match. But this was a decent title match. Edge and Christian tried to come out to get the win for Angle, but they pretty much got dispatched easily. Visionary pin tap out for Angle when Undertaker has him in an arm breaker. And then a pin attempt, again, is thwarted by Edge and Christian. Then the old switcheroo with Eric Angle coming out of underneath the ring to take the last ride, and then Angle gets the roll up. Out of both matches that we've seen for the Undertaker, that I've seen for the Undertaker, I actually prefer his debut match because at least he actually was looking like a villain and stuff like that. So I prefer that match over this one. But who knows? We'll see with Survivor Series 2010. But ladies and gentlemen, we now have Edge and Christian and the Right to Censor. I fucking hate their theme song. I fucking hate it. Taking on the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys in a Survivor Series matchup. So, let us watch this one before the main event. So, we just had the Hardys and the Dudleys versus Edge, Christian, and the Right to Censor. Bull Buchanan and Goodfather. Never knew the Right to Censor won the tag team titles. Oh, fuck me. Anyway, so to the pinfalls and stuff like that. Matt Hardy gets pinned with the Edge-O-Matic from Edge. Then Devon gets pinned with the Unprettier from Christian. Bo Buchanan gets pinned after a spear from Edge, and Bubba pins him, basically. Edge gets pinned next after a splash from Christian, and then Bubba pins him. Bubba gets pinned with a Death Valley driver from Goodfather. Then Christian gets pinned after a Swanton from Jeff. And the Goodfather gets pinned after a clothesline from Val Venus, and then Jeff pins him. Basically gets, after that smash, and then at the end of it, the Right to Censor's Val Venus and Stevie Richards gets put through a table, gets put through tables. So, to the main event, Austin versus Triple H, no disqualification. So, I'm going to pause it, and then we'll get into the backstory. Survivor Series 1999. Austin was supposed to be taking part in a triple threat match between himself, Triple H, and The Rock for the WWF Championship. But then, Austin is taken out in the parking lot with a car, so basically gets run over. and it's a big whodunit storyline. And the person who did it would be Rikishi. So this leads into Rikishi versus The Rock earlier on in the night at Survivor Series. And basically, it then turns out that Rikishi couldn't really be a heel, so they needed a mastermind, and that turned out to be Triple H, because obviously. So we have this matchup. It's Triple H versus Austin. It's then made during the night. No disqualification. So this is going to be a blood feud. So let's see how it goes for Austin and Hunter. So we just had Austin versus Triple H in the no DQ main event, and this was this was a good match. It was a good brawl. Triple H going through the table, announcer's table, getting busted open with the mini television that the guys have to call the action with. And then Austin basically just picks up Hunter and whilst he's in a car and basically gets destroyed. It was a really good match. No winner technically, but Austin would claim the victory. This would go into their feud. This would carry on their feud until No Way Out 2001, where they would have 3 stages of Hell match. But yeah, it was a really good match. What did I think of the show overall? Really good show, top to bottom. Really good card. Very entertaining matchup. Match of the night would have to be the no DQ match. Worst match of the night. Probably the opener, to be fair. But yeah, it was a really good card. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next episode, which will be Survivor Series 2010. Take care, stay safe, always wash your